You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing, daily, hopefully. Hello, it's Wednesday the 7th of August 2024, and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And this is a lot earlier in the morning than I usually do it, because I normally do it in the evening once I've done my writing for the day, but I'm recording this at 9:47 a.m. and I have done the writing work that I wanted to do today. And that simply is editing the short story that I wrote. It's called, With Friends Like That. It's another Doctor Who and the Bill crossover from my collection entitled 60/40, for those of you who don't know what that means. I started writing them last year, and it's for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who and the 40th anniversary of the Bill, both of which were last year. And they're crossovers. So this one is a relatively low-key one. It doesn't have the Doctor in it at all. In fact, the only canon characters from Doctor Who are Tegan, the Australian air hostess, and the only canon characters from the Bill are James Carver, and a very brief appearance at the end from Detective Sergeant Burnside. The story is set between series 19 and 20 of Doctor Who. So at the end of a story called Time Flight, Tegan leaves the Doctor to go and actually do her job as an air hostess. At the beginning of the next story, called Arc of Infinity, at the start of series 20, she announces during the story, when she rejoins the TARDIS crew, that she was fired from her job. Well, I kind of wondered, why was she fired? Well, now we know. So it's entirely set aboard an aeroplane, and there is a disturbance with some disruptive, what in the trade are called disruptive passengers. It's a group of 4 English lads on an Air Australia flight coming back from Singapore to Heathrow, and one of those lads is James Carver and 3 of his mates, and they basically, well, James doesn't, but his mates get drunk and cause a problem and end up having to be restrained, and the purser aboard, Primrose, decides that all of them are culprits and should be arrested, whereas Tegan is kind of like, well, hang on, Carver, James, actually hasn't drunk all flight and helped restrain one of his friends when they kicked off. Primrose is one of those, and I believe the industry used to be a bit like this. I don't think it is anymore, but the industry used to be like, you do not question someone who is superior to you, especially flight crew. However, that led to some genuine disasters. So I understand, was it the East Midlands Airport crash? An engine caught fire and one was turned off, but it was the wrong engine that was turned off. And one of the cabin crew spotted this, but because of the way seniority worked in those days, was too scared to tell the flight crew that they'd shut off the wrong engine. As a result, the plane crashed and quite a lot of people died. So as a result of that, they basically have tried to, across the industry, not just that particular airline, but across the industry, change the culture so that's not the case. But this is set in 1982. Flight crew, what they say goes, and indeed what the purser on this flight says goes. So yeah, I enjoyed writing it. It's up there on my website. So if you listen to the Linktree link at the end of this podcast, one of the links on that link tree will take you to my website. The most recent article, if you're listening to it today, is on there, and it has a link to the story. And if you are looking on a desktop computer and go to the right-hand side of the page, if you're not listening to this recently but still like to read the story, there's a list of these stories on the right-hand side, so you can click on the link there as well. So that's done. So in the last 2 days I've been incredibly productive. I've signed off chapter 33 of Empress of the Trees, and now I've published With Friends Like That, my new short story, to my website. I'm not going to do any more writing today. I've deliberately kind of got it done early so I can have a little bit of time off. Not in a bad way, I love it, but I've got some other things I need to do today, which is all fine. But the other thing I want to try and do, so the other things I need to do over the next couple of days are as follows. So tomorrow I intend to start writing chapter 34 of Empress of the Trees. Now, because some of the things that happened in 33, which are better than my original plan, I need to work on my scene breakdown and, plan for chapter 34, because there's a new storyline element that I'm introducing, which actually isn't in my plan, but it's much better. And I won't talk about what it is now, but basically the entity that is in the tree that's been cut off from the mycelial network is going to try and it wants to reconnect to the network so it can communicate some stuff, and it can't. And so what I was going to do was a bit rubbish, just have them reconnect in the tree by literally letting the mycelia regrow. Now I've decided that the entity inside a human being is going to literally walk from one spot to another, but there's a lot of men with guns that want to kill them or her on the way, so that's going to kind of increase the jeopardy towards the end of the book. So there's that to do. And the other thing is, I have submitted the English Hikikomori to a total of 6 people now. I've had 5 rejection letters, and what I did initially was, as soon as I got one rejection, I submitted it to more people. Well, I haven't done that with yet, so I need to submit the English Hikikomori to 2 more people. So that is something I hope I will do before I do the podcast tomorrow. So yeah, that's my plans for the day, and I will catch you. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you at some point tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.